I've been on a confidence journey for around 6 years now, and it's something that has helped me grow in my career within the automotive industry, but also to help me start presenting myself more online and talk with a lot more confidence and expertise than I would have thought when I was 25. What I want to give you today is just some tools to help you build that confidence, but also to validate a lot of what is out there right now, because there's so many confidence coaches. This is the stuff that has worked for me, is the confidence level that I have. And I am on camera. I am in my best loungewear from my home. I am not wearing any makeup. I've brushed my hair, but you've got me completely natural. I am able to present myself still in the most confident way. Where I want to be is on stage, talking about my experience as a woman in automotive. I need to have a level of confidence there that not only is presented in my character, but means that stakeholders and investors want to actually invest in my project. I also want to be invited to podcasts. So I need to work on my confidence, and I need to get myself to a place where I feel comfortable in presenting myself in such a way. So where I am right now, 6 years on in my confidence journey, I'm going to give you some tips and tools that I first followed. Tip number one, first of all, you need a trigger. And what I mean by this is in 2019, I just was so fed up with my behavior. I was so done with how I was negatively talking to myself, with the way I was presenting myself in public. I just didn't feel like me. And I said, you know what? Time to change. It's time to actually look at what I can do, make myself a much better person, and start building my confidence. So I went on a bit of a growth mindset, self-love, self-care, self-healing journey. And that trigger moment was really the first thing that I needed. So this could be something where you're fed up of getting the same feedback over and over again, and you see that it's a recurring theme, but you just don't know what to do about it. You're fed up of the same patterns of behavior happening or the same things happening to you. So you need kind of a trigger point, because without it, you've got to really want it to change. You can't just go, I just think I might do this one day. You've got to want it. The second tip, and this is going to sound really odd, but when you think about what experts out in the world have actually said, it's going to make sense. And my growth mindset, self-love, self-care, confidence journey started just shy of COVID. Come 2020, I thought, right, I'm going to start actually just making some more positive changes to me and my behavior. So I was smiling in front of the mirror, and I smiled to myself in front of the mirror because I wanted to show myself an example of a happy face. And you might laugh at that, right? But think about it, in COVID, it was actually a bit of a lifesaver. People are out in masks. If we weren't just in lockdown completely, the only people you may have seen were the people within your home if you lived with anybody. And otherwise, you might have seen people on Teams, but if you were furloughed, you had limited interactions. So smiles and smiling happy faces, other than on TV, where we're so skeptical about who is being shown to us, were few and far between. So stood in front of my mirror, smiling at myself, demonstrating a positive, a happy person, actually really emphasized and made that confidence journey much easier. I was able to see somebody that I thought believed in me, and because I was smiling at me, that gave me positive feelings. I was able to start generating those positive, happy chemicals which are in your brain. And you may be familiar with like Mel Robbins, for example, who does the high five theory. So the high-fiving yourself in the mirror, it's really similar to that. And for me, it was smiling at myself in the mirror and telling myself, hey, today's going to be a great day. So tip number 3 then, and this one, before you scroll away or roll your eyes, listen. Affirmations. Now, I know. Affirmations are so oversold. But what you have to do is find the right sentence. My affirmations actually started with things that I could see. So my affirmations were, I am Belinda, which is correct. I am kind. I am loving. And I knew that those things were true because I see them, I believe them. When I felt negative, I'd reassure myself, I am Belinda, I am kind, I am loving. And that gave me that positive affirmation. What I then started to do, and again, this takes a little bit of time, is I started to add some ones where I was like, right, come on now, these are too easy. I need something that is actually like, I know is true, but I don't believe it. So there would be things like, at that time in my life, I was an expert when it came to product knowledge and retention. So I would do things like, I'm an expert at retaining knowledge about BMWs. People feel confident when I tell them my knowledge about BMWs. And it would be things like that. I'd feel it more tangible. I could pinpoint it to something, and it made me feel like, okay, I've got evidence now. So when you want to get more towards the area of confidence building and you want to believe you're confident, but maybe you just don't quite yet, just start saying, I am confident at, and you build it up. I am confident at product knowledge. I am confident at driving. I am confident at, and you start to build out all the things that you are confident at. You keep telling yourself this daily when you feel those negative thoughts come through. I am confident at. And you start to realize and believe in yourself. And I don't even know why this happens. It just does. Essentially, you just kind of go, yeah, I am confident at. So positive affirmations are incredibly important. Number 4, you kind of have to start putting this into practice. Now, for me, I wanted to do things like be a little bit more outspoken at work. I wanted to progress in my career. I wanted to start creating content. So I needed to actually believe in myself. Now, there is a massive truth in that if you deliver something and you don't believe in it, you're not going to sell it. A lot of the sales process, if you think about it much more logically, is around somebody believing that that product or whatever you're offering is worth its weight in gold. And if it's not, people are going to look elsewhere. So I started coming up with some ideas when I was at work, and I would start voicing an idea to my boss. And regardless of the feedback, I congratulated myself for making an idea and making that known and saying it loud and clear. And I would try and set myself a goal to not just your highs and buys, but to make a point or say something that would be relevant to the objective of that meeting, and pushing myself to speak up when I knew the answer. Like, we don't always have to stay quiet, and doing it slowly and doing it gradually because I went at my own pace. I was then able to start having those conversations with myself about how do I actually push this further. So I wanted to do a bit of writing. I wanted to start like exploring my craft more and developing myself more. And so those confidence little droplets helped me to do exactly that. It essentially evolved into Belinda Automotive. So after having put in all the little stepping stones, talk more in a meeting, raise your point if it's important, make sure that you are heard, I then started thinking, do you know what? I know that I can do this. So I created Belinda Automotive, and I use those confidence steps to start trialing, testing, and putting myself out there more. I'm very much somebody who presents myself authentically. I'm at that stage of my confidence journey where I don't hide anything from anybody. I'm able to put my thoughts and opinions out there. And if I'm wrong, I will admit that I am wrong, because we are human beings and we cannot all be right. Another tip is actually just looking at what your expectations are. Do you have such high expectations of yourself that you're never going to achieve them? Do you seek perfectionism, knowing that if you'll never submit it if it's not perfect, therefore you'll never be subject to criticism? Those things were ringing so true for me. But I realize I'm not that kind of person. I am somebody that needs to learn from my mistakes, that needs praise for the work that I do, but also that needs to put myself out there, especially if I want to achieve my big dreams in life. So I looked at those expectations I was setting of myself, the expectations that my parents, society, my teachers, my friends, my family had put on me. Now, this bit is I'd say it's the hardest part, because you physically have to want to do that. You have to want to look at those expectations and challenge them head on. You have to say, I don't care that society wants me to do this. I know that what I'm doing is not illegal, it's not harming anybody, and actually it's giving me joy, so I can do this. At this point in your journey, of your confidence journey, you will start to hear the negative voices come up because you've stopped listening to them. You stop giving them any kind of voice or time, and you'll just have to remind yourself of the expectations you once had. It's okay to break those expectations. So that level of confidence really pushes you to the next level. And lastly, it's actually aligning yourself with your values, right? What do you want from life? Who are you as a person, and what values do you live by? So for me, my values are authenticity, inclusivity, accessibility, and then kindness as well. So I always lead with those in my life. I think with those as my first thought is what I am doing, serving those values. If there's a conflict in those values, is it worth doing? And I think that's where your confidence comes in, because if you find a scenario that conflicts with your values, you can say no. And being confident enough to say no is amazing. And that is where I want to be. That is what I am working towards now, is learning to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. But each of these has been 6 years in the making, right? And for me, a huge growth, especially within my career in automotive, presenting Belinda Automotive as she is in the flesh. It has been something that I'm so proud of, but I know that this journey is going to continue and continue, and I just have to honor it. So your confidence journey is all about you, and you are going to have to want it. You're going to have to face some of the things that you may find challenging, like accepting and acknowledging yourself. You're going to have to talk positively to yourself. You are going to have to start stepping out there. And you're also going to have to start looking at those values, because without it, you can't be the most confident self. But you can put yourself out there and start practicing and start doing it now. But confidence takes time.